Louis, did you have any questions? Any pressing questions you would like to ask?
I have a selfish question.
Okay.
You guys mentioned that these guys, the inmates, they have televisions, they have radios, and they listen to, the radio station. What's our rating in there? Are we number one overall?
Well, we only get about 2 stations because the whole building's made of rebar.
I'll take it. I don't really care why.
So, yeah, you're pretty up there.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll take it.
What about the ladies? Hey, ladies, what's going on?
What was that?
That's how I do it on the outside. That's how I do it on the inside. You understand?
That explains a lot.
Yeah, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Welcome to Louisville.
All right, so this is, I got to tell you, you guys are stressing me the frig out because I can feel your passion. This is your livelihood. This is what you do for a living. This is how you feed your families. And I just, there's a sense of despair here in the room. I mean, you're getting no answers and you have to show up to work. Let me ask a stupid question because I don't know anything about unions. And if it comes off the wrong way or is disrespectful to your union, please, I really don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Kick him in the head, okay?
I've been called a lot of things in my life. Easily offended has never been one of them, so go ahead.
You said you can't strike. Isn't that one of the points of a union? Why can't you strike?
In the 80s, after the air traffic controller thing where they fired 11,000 air traffic controllers, they passed laws. Federal government unions are not allowed to strike because it's a public safety issue.
Okay.
If we don't come to work, there's nobody. Air traffic controllers, there's nobody to safely help land planes. Correctional officers, there's nobody to keep the public safe from incarcerated persons. There's the Secret Service, there's the FBI, there's the U.S. Marshals. Without these jobs, if you don't do them, people can get hurt, people can die. So they said public safety is more important than our right to strike.
Because of the government shutdown, these guys are not being paid and being told they have to work. But I understand the inmates are being paid.
Yeah, if that's not a real twist of irony, then I
call
don't know
it a
what
kick
is,
in the
but-
D.
I wouldn't disagree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the inmates continue to get paid. It's a different budget. It's different funding. So they continue to make their pennies an hour, which is pennies an hour more than what Rob and I are currently making, and everyone else there. So and everyone in the Department of Justice and Homeland Security, all of us, not making any money, just want to get paid for doing a fair day's work. That's it.
Now you mentioned the Department of Justice. This affects. I mean, you guys are the guys that we're talking to because you're local, and we heard about your story, and we're having you in. We wanted to hear your story, but this is federal agencies all across the country. People going home.
Not just Bureau of Prisons. Who else is in the DOJ and Homeland Security? The FBI, DEA, ATF,
FBI,
U.S. Marshals, CBP.
Every alphabet law enforcement agency you can think of is affected by this.
So everybody keeping you safe is not getting a paycheck.
Right.
And they're all going to work, and they're all doing their job, dedicated employees. They're just not getting paid
We've
for
heard
it.
Politicians talk for months, if not years, about federal law enforcement, veterans. You got to take care of the veterans.
Yep.
Everybody on the Hill is talking about that. 30%, just the Bureau of Prisons, 30% of our staff are veterans, and they continue. And they get maybe they're still in the military, in the National Guard, or in the reserves, or they get out and they want to continue their public service, working for the government. And here we are, taking it in the.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I talked to a guy at the institution the other day that said he called he's in the reserves. He called up his supervisor in the Army and said, hey, is there any way I could get deployed? Because at least then I can get paid.
Wow.
He'd rather go to war and get paid than stay here and not get paid.
Wow.
Getting paid is key.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of important to sustaining life and family.
Are you afraid that possibly some of the correctional officers might just resign and now you're going to be down? I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but if it does...
Not speaking for anyone specifically, just my opinion. I think most of the staff in Danbury at the FCI are, we feel the pinch of missing this first paycheck, and it sucks. A week from now, that pinch is going to be very painful. If we have to go a second paycheck, again, just my opinion, I would be shocked if we didn't start seeing resignation letters.
And that worries me. The longer it lasts, the more staff will lose. If it lasts another week, we may lose a small percentage. If it lasts 2 more weeks after that, you're going to see, I guarantee you're going to see people finding other jobs in droves. If this lasts 2 months, I could see large portions of the staff resigning.
Now, if you're a person who has a lot of years in, you're not likely to do that because you're looking at your end game. You get a pension, I'm assuming, at the end?
We get a pension. It's modest, but it's yes, we get a good pension. We get good benefits that will last the rest of our lives. And there's the TSP, a thrift savings plan, which is the equivalent of a 401, and that's When I took the position that I have now, a guy who's retired, Bobby, if you're listening to this for you, he told me that, Mike, this is not a glamorous career. You're not going to become a millionaire. It's not flashy, but it's a freaking awesome career. If you can keep your eyes on the prize, focus on the end game, you could do very well for yourself. So
but maybe a young guy who can't.
A young guy who's got
right
3 to
now.
5 years in. Did we go over the numbers, Rob? What's the numbers?
I believe in custody, like 70% has under 5 years in. Those guys have no large investment. I mean, yeah, they're in. They got a few years in. You know, they know that in their head, they know they get a pension, but that's 20 years down the line.
Right.
They're not thinking about that. They're young. They're looking at, I'm not getting a paycheck today.
And their buddies making the same money doing social media.
Yeah, working in the private sector, getting paid.
You know what I mean?
But then you got the other end also that, you know, people are close to retirement where they could go in 6 months or a year, or maybe they kick us out at 57. It's mandatory retirement at 57. So maybe they could go another 3, 5, 8, 10 years. You think they're going to want to? I sure as hell wouldn't. Absolutely not. As soon as I get the chance to go, I'm out. If I was that close to being done, yeah, I'd be leaving. I don't want to deal with this.
There's always a portion of the staff that can retire. They're eligible. They're 50 years old. They've done their 20 years. They're eligible to retire, but they're staying because they like their job. They're not ready to retire. But now they're going to be looking, hey, you know what? Why should I do this?
And they
I
know
can
their
retire and go get a different job and get my paycheck and still have my pension.
They know their job. They're good at it. They could keep doing it for the next several years, but they're going to leave. So we're going to lose very qualified people quickly. And if this goes on for, quote, months or even years, I think that's going to be something the agency's never had to deal with.
If you're
which is gonna be
understaffed
thin
with
ice.
correctional officers, if you're understaffed, will it pose a danger to both the correctional officers and the general public in prison?
I don't think it'll help. There's always a danger in any correctional environment. It's inherent in the job. We all know that. But
It could be
this
dangerous
certainly doesn't help.
to the inmates, too, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. A large part of our job is to keep the inmates safe from other inmates.
Right.
I mean, if you're short-staffed, like I said, they're going to start cutting services like recreation, education, start locking them down in the units where everybody's in the same room. It's dormitory style for the most part. You have, 80, 100 guys in a room locked in, 20, 22 hours a day. That increases tension and increases danger. You have one correctional officer for what? 200, 300 inmates?
Up to, yeah. There's liberties all the inmates are afforded, the recreation, the weight rooms, the basketball courts.
And that keeps them busy and happy.
And it keeps them busy and happy. And it keeps things quiet, it keeps things on an even keel, and everybody does their job, and everything's fine. Start taking those things away because of our government, and that's, you're bringing gasoline to a fire.
We have to wrap here. Is there any last-minute statements or anything you'd like to add before we wrap it up?
One thing I'd like to say is that if this is an issue that concerns you, you have family members, you have friends that work for the federal government, call your congresspeople. Let them know you're not happy. Let them know you want the government open. Politicians listen to voters. If you call them and you let them know that you're not happy with the situation, that's what they're going to listen to. That's what's going to help get the government open fast.
I'm going to strip search Ethan now, so if we could you get up, please?
Don't touch me.
Get up.
I'm not going to get up.
How do I do it, guys? Come on. I know it's in your pants. Can I grab them like this?
Use only the amount of force necessary to gain control of it.
You're in my pants. See what I deal with on a day-to-day basis?
I just stuck my hand down the back of his pants.
That's right.
Now I'm going to have to pour bleach on my hand.
I want to thank Rob Curnan and Mike Parady,
Nice
FCI
ass, by the way.
correctional officers. I don't have one. At the Federal Correctional Institution in Danbury. Thank you guys for
Thank you
coming
both for
Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
I wish it would help open the government, but at least more people know what exactly is going on with people who are not getting compensated.
Yeah, we wish you the best. I don't know the answer, but we wish you the best for sure.
Thanks
guys.